you've got extensive investments going on in the green transition in various parts of that transition, whether it's hydrogen or even the distribution infrastructure. How do you see what President Trump has said since his inauguration and his intent to walk back a lot of the efforts towards electric vehicles and climate change friendly technologies that the US has so far worked on?
Yeah. The way I see it is a little bit different. So I think the world had, with fossil fuels, and the end of fossil fuel was a bit overdone, because everybody felt that very quickly that the transition could take place very quickly. And I think there's a little bit of a reality check on that front, which has now been acknowledged by most people in the world, that it's going to take a while to replace all of the infrastructure, cars, everything which is based on fossil fuel. I think Trump's going back obviously will slow down the process of transition, no question. We still have to see what the real impact will be of those announcements. We don't know yet, but the fact that we're going to move towards a transition, a fossil fuel replacement technology, I think is inevitable. The question is how fast we can do it. And the way we are investing, our idea is to invest in these sectors which are with commercially viable, profitable businesses, which today's technology can afford us. So if you can do a green transition in a commercial way, which is profitable, then I think it's a much easier choice for consumers to make.
Are you referring to grey hydrogen? Or?
Let's take renewable power.
Okay.
Renewable power today in India or any other part of the world which has got abundance of sun is cheaper than coal, cheaper than gas, cheaper than any other energy. And now it's we have to solve the intermittent issue with batteries, but with the cost of batteries coming down, I think it's not very long before you can get round the clock power of renewable energy, which is what we are focused on at commercial prices which are lower than coal. Okay. Or lower than gas. Similarly, we are looking at electric vehicles. I mean, we are investing in a green mobility network for trucks, and we will provide the service at the same price as diesel.
Okay.
No subsidy, and no premium which the customer has to pay. Now that's a very easy choice for the customer to make.
Okay.
I'm going to go green. I don't have to pay more, and I get to save the CO2. And India, for example, just on trucks, India has 20% CO2 coming out of trucks. So the transition is going to happen, but technology is going to help us make it in a commercially viable way.
But it's easy to sort of come to the conclusion that India, its push towards green energy in various parts of the the value chain will probably continue uninterrupted, irrespective of what happens to the US. But in this element is also what the US will do in terms of tariffs potentially, to the entire supply chain of green energy, whether it's chips, batteries, and all of that. And what impact it will have, therefore, on your ability to procure. So when you sit back at the beginning of this year, are there areas that look more confident to invest in and others that you might want to wait till the fine print is out?
Well, if the US does impose tariffs, then India will can be a beneficiary of it, because
we haven't really capitalized on the China plus one opportunity as yet.
Exactly, so. But that's the real opportunity in front of us. If China does get a lot of tariffs, then India can be a big beneficiary.
He's threatened tariffs against India as well in his campaign speeches.
So I think the US strategy is much more around Atmanirbhar US.
Okay, well said.
We've been talking about the same thing in India now for nearly a decade. So we are already down the same path, which he's now trying to follow.
Sure.
And so that's the global trade now. Earlier it used to just be about open trade, global trade, etc. I think there's now a realization that making sure that jobs stay within the country and there is a level of self-sufficiency for every country. I think that's a realization which has taken place, and therefore global trade will have to modify itself to make place for this, because India is wanting the same thing, China is wanting the same thing, US is wanting the same thing. I think Europe sooner or later will want the same thing, and there will be a change in the perception of global trade.
Yeah, you know, we're seeing markets across the world today, currency, stocks, all roiled by the variety of Trump, the pronouncements, if I can put it that way. What are you going to double down on, given all this uncertainty and volatility? What's your expansion plan this year? What's your investment plan this year? Across not just green energy, but you're invested in conventional power, you're invested in infrastructure. So what are the hottest growing spots?
So Menaka, we are basically investing in a few ecosystems which we're building out, right? So one of them is industrial decarbonization, which is with hydrogen, and how can we make existing industrial assets, decarbonize.
That's the UK refinery.
That's the UK business we are investing. The other one we're doing is green mobility. I just spoke about that.
Yeah, that's in India.
Third one is renewable power, where we are looking at round-the-clock power solutions for the future.
So by that you mean solar parks?
Invest in solar, wind, and battery as a combination.
Well, that's a new thing right now, isn't it? I mean,
No,
most of your power has been conventional.
In the past, most of our power has been, coal and gas-based.
Yeah.
But I think most of the new investments we're doing here.
Any number you want to put to it?
Our plan is to build 8 gigawatts of power over the next 5 years.
Okay.
And all of it, we are trying to go down the round-the-clock solution.
And ground up?
Ground up.
Okay. You're not looking to acquire any existing facilities?
No. And then the other system we're building is we have a company which is building out data centers, and that's another massive market. So we have a company called Black Box, which is investing in building. We are not investing in the data center, but we are actually helping build out the huge, $200 billion of data centers are getting built a year right now, only in the U.S. So it's a massive market. We're going to try to access that market in a much bigger way. And so these are, and the last one we're building is a biofuel refinery based, which is second generation.
In India?
Second generation in India. And the objective is again to meet the mandates which are there for biofuel.
Okay. So what's the capital expansion investment plan over the course of the next 5 years? Can you put numbers to that?
I don't have a specific number, but each of these businesses has obviously plans, but certainly in the region of $3-4 billion.
And what do you think will be the biggest challenge as you roll all of this out?
I mean, I see just a massive opportunity right now.
Okay.
Because I mean, first time in history that the change and the investment is actually required across the world. I mean, in the past, you've had developing economies investing in the 70s and 80s, and then you've had the emerging economies investing in the last 20 years. Early it was China, then it was all other countries. First time in the history, because of this whole energy transition, there is an ability to replace and reset infrastructure, assets, everything which you can see, which has been built in the last 40 years. That is the size of the opportunity, and therefore, I mean, it's a question of navigating, making sure that we stay close to the principles, but the opportunity is massive, and that's what's exciting.